Some categories of visa require the applicant to be outside Australia at the time the visa is granted. It means that the applicant must be outside the country to allow their visas to be processed. Due to COVID-19, many applicants were unable to fly out of the country, leaving them stranded in Australia, with no work rights, and no visa. They applied offshore. Many people said that changes need to be made in the law to allow people to obtain their visas in country. In December 2020, a private member bill was put forward, where it was suggested that the minister should be granted the temporary power to issue any visa onshore during COVID-19. According to the department, the changes are expected to be implemented on the 27th of February 2021 to allow some family visas that were applied offshore and will be granted to the applicant while they are in the country. The concession would benefit family visa applicants who arrived in the country after applying for their application offshore. The concession would apply to eligible applicants for the following partner and child visa subclasses. Child as subclass 101 visa. Adoption as subclass 102 visa. Dependent child as subclass 445 visa. Prospective marriage as subclass 300 visa and partner as subclass 309 visa. Another concession that the government is planning to grant will be to applicants who applied for parent visa. The change would allow the applicant to obtain parent visa without departing the country. This concession begins from the 24th of March 2021 and would be applicable on following visas subclasses. Parent as subclass 103 visa. Contributory parent as subclass 173 visa, and contributory parent as subclass 143 visa. Current processing timeframes for parent visa applications would not be impacted by these amendments. The waiting times for parent visas extended in the recent months to over 5 years for the contributory parent visa applicants. According to the government, 4,000 applicants, mostly partner applicants, would benefit from these changes. Australia Travel Declaration for passengers entering Australia. People who are travelling to Australia must complete the Australia Travel Declaration 72 hours prior to their departure. The Australia Travel Declaration gathers information including contact details, flight details, and health status, and quarantine requirements. This information helps the government to provide you with all the quarantine arrangement and allows them to get in touch with you if they get to know of someone linked to you has come out COVID positive. The Australia Travel Declaration is for the following travellers entering Australia: Australian citizens and permanent residents, people who are automatically exempt from the travel restrictions, and people who have been granted an individual exemption to the current travel restrictions. Travellers who lie under the following categories do not need to complete the Australia Travel Declaration. Flight crew, Australian accredited foreign diplomats, and people travelling on military flights. It is highly advised to gather the following information before you commence the declaration: passport details, trip information, destination details, and contact details. Create an account that can manage your current and future declaration. Once you have submitted your response, you cannot make any changes to your Australia Travel Declaration answers. Each declaration is of single use and valid for one flight or journey for the traveller named. Adults must complete their own declaration. Children under 15 must get it filled by their parents. You must complete the Australia Travel Declaration if you are transiting through Australia. Australia Travel Declaration is free, so no fee is required. Before you board the flight, present the details emailed to you by the Australia Travel Declaration. This has to be done after arriving to Australia. If, in case, your declaration is incomplete, you will not be able to either board the flight or may face delays after arriving the country. A third party is assigned the task to gather the information of the travellers. You will be redirected from this page to an external Australia travel declaration page. You will receive a confirmation email from AU Health Aero once the declaration is submitted. Safe Travel Zones. It is an agreement that allows you to travel to Australia without having to spend any days in quarantine, ensuring the traveller was not in contact with the virus 14 days prior to his entry to the country. Currently, Australia has a Safe Travel Zone agreement with New Zealand. Latest updates on COVID-19 conditions for Safe Travel Zone flights from New Zealand. No COVID-19 conditions for safe travelling flights to New Zealand are announced. Arrival in Australia. Red and green zones have been created at the airport to separate travellers who are exempted from quarantine with those who are not eligible for it. If you travel on a quarantine-free flight, you will be guided through Green Passage to complete all border clearance processes at the airport. This is the end of today's video.